All right, we're off to Kanata, Ontario to visit the Canadian Tire Centre. Let's go. Hey there and welcome back to Rinks Around the League. I'm your host Jeff Nash, and on this episode we're off to Kanata, Ontario to visit the Canadian Tire Centre, home of the Ottawa Senators. Construction of the Canadian Tire Centre started back on July 7th, 1994, and it was opened on January 15th, 1996 at a cost of $170 million. It is owned by Capital Sports Properties. Its seating capacity is 17,373. Its scoreboard measures 21 by 16 feet. Secondary ticket price ranks them 15th in the league at $135. In 2013, Canadian Tire Corp took over naming rights to the building, but financial terms were not released. But the previous deal with Scotiabank was a 15-year, $20 million deal. In the relatively short amount of time it's been around the league, Canadian Tire Centre has some interesting history to it. Now originally, the Terrace Corporation was going to build a 20,500 seat arena, and it was going to be surrounded by a 500-acre mini-city named West Terrace. But after the land was rezoned and a public hearing was held, new conditions were applied to the development of the arena, being reduced to an 18,500 seats and a moratorium placed on the West Terrace development. Then in 2001, financial situations forced Terrace Corporation to pay the remaining debts associated to the rink and forced ownership to try to refinance the arena. And this would ultimately fail, forcing Terrace to file for bankruptcy in 2003. And then in 2003, Eugene Melnyk would come in to buy the Senators and the arena. In 2004, ownership applied and was approved to expand seating to 19,153 seats. But in 2017, it was announced that their seating capacity would be reduced to 17,373 after the team president argued that the seating expansion was too big for the market. Now, it should be noted that the future of the Ottawa Senators at Canadian Tire Centre might be short-lived, as they hope to build a brand new state-of-the-art facility in downtown Ottawa. Although the saga goes back and forth, at the time of this taping, the newest proposal was killed due to numerous legal battles. Only time will tell if this new rink gets built. Now, what do I like about the Canadian Tire Centre? Well, much like my comparison to an 80s game at Joe Louis, I can make the same comparison to a 90s game at the Canadian Tire Centre. I don't know what it is, if it's the decor, but walking in the Canadian Tire Centre brings back nostalgic memories of going to a game in the 90s. It's a really nice rink. They have all the amenities all the new rinks have these days. A nice polished concourse, a team store, nice big scoreboard. It's a really nice rink. There's not much I don't like about this rink. It's a fantastic rink. But there are two main things that I don't like about this rink. Number one being its location. It's nowhere near downtown Ottawa. In fact, it's almost 22 kilometers outside downtown Ottawa. And being that far outside of downtown, there's not much around it. In fact, if you look on the map, there's not much other than an outlet mall and an auto mall. And Ottawa is such a beautiful city. It's a shame that they don't have this rink in downtown, or at least somewhere close to downtown Ottawa. And number two is the empty seats. Now, I know there's some hardcore Ottawa Senator fans out there, but you can't deny that they have a tough time filling that building. I mean, just look at the fluctuation of seating capacity. It was originally supposed to be 20,000, then 18,000, then back up to 19,000, then down to 17,000. And it was only a few years back that they gained national headlines when the Ottawa Senators made the Stanley Cup semifinals and could barely sell out the building. Here's hoping that they sort themselves out and build a new rink in downtown Ottawa so they can have full buildings every single night. Well, that does it for Ottawa, but stay tuned because no doubt there will be more news coming down the pipe in regards to the new rink. It's been a long drawn-out process with lots of drama. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Senators fans, let me know. What do you think about this saga? Are you hoping that they push through and get this rink built? Or are you happy with the Canadian Tire Centre and where it's at? On the next episode of Rinks Around the League, we're off to the city of brotherly love to visit the Wells Fargo Centre, home of the Philadelphia Flyers. As always, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _theRinks, on Facebook at The Rinks, and on YouTube at Rinks Around the League. Hit subscribe and ring that bell. This is by far one of the best games, but definitely one of the best goals ever scored at the Canadian Tire Centre.
The line, Ellis knocks it down. They battle on the wall for it. Ellis in there as well. Boychuk looking for it. Tavares pulls it out. Tavares backhand towards the goal. Loose puck. Everybody scores! Tie game! Can you believe it?